From the art of the deal to keeping it real. Live from the Simply Vegas studios, it's The Power Move with John Gafford.
Back again for another episode of The Power Move. I am your host, John Gafford. To my left, Colt the Wacom Cobra. Amidan?
Strong one today.
Strong.
I like it. I like that.
The Wacom Cobra.
Matches my turtleneck.
I dig that. Missing for the second. He'll be back shortly, but missing, I'll show you. Yeah, there he is. The empty chair. The empty vessel that is normally Chris Connell.
Best Chris has ever looked on
Yeah,
video.
it's the best he's ever looked. You know, it's amazing that how unimportant our podcast comes when you have a very high value client.
Lawyer. It's like, yeah.
It's like, I can sit here and talk nonsense with you morons, or I can
go make money.
Can move on and do that.
Go make money.
Yes. Today on the show, we're going to talk about, 2020, the new year 2022 has already started off for a lot of people the same way that 2021 kind of ended, which was, with some drama and some problems. And I want to talk about, people always ask me what the most important book that I've ever read is, or, what's made the biggest impact on me. And that book is The Obstacles Away by Ryan Holiday. And actually his whole series of books on Stoicism, I can't get enough of it. I'm actually reading one right now called The Ego is the Way. Ego is the Enemy is the one I'm reading right now.
That sounds like a good one.
It is a good one. It is a good one.
The ego is the most loving thing. I love to learn about the ego. The ego is what will wreck you as a person.
It will.
One thing.
And so what we're going to do today is not do a paraphrase of a book or not summarize a book as we have before. What I did was I just kind of went out and found a bunch of quotes from famous Stoics that I like. And these are quotes that have come through. I've read them in different books that I've read. Just different things that I've consumed on this topic. Because I'm going to warn you right now, man. This is one of those topics that once you get started on it, it hopefully will appeal to you as it has to me. It is what allows me to do what I do and get me through the day. And hopefully it'll appeal to you and you'll start looking for more of this stuff out. So what I wanted to do is I just highlighted, I got, a handful of quotes on here and I just kind of want to go through and we'll talk about it as we go through. So
Love it.
A lot of Marcus Aurelius, who was, an emperor of Rome, some Seneca, some Epictetus, some different stuff as we go along. So we'll start out real quick with one from Seneca that says, if you have passed through life without an opponent, no one can ever know what you are capable of, not even you. I love that because it is one of those quotes that came through that so many people shuck adversity. So many people don't want to compete. So many people are scared to take that chance. So many people are scared to get out of their comfort zone, Colt, to see where the world will take them.
I totally agree. And I think it goes to, you really never have a true enemy or obstacle if you don't have an ego. But there's always obstacles. It's so funny. I felt like crap. And people are reaching out to me. It's like,
you look great.
Yeah, thanks. No, but it's, So when I'm sick, thank God that I'm still alive. I've got the ability to get up and get going again. And if you just pass away and like, oh, poor me, I'm not going to fight against something. You'll never live life. You'll never be successful. If you're afraid of somebody yelling at you on the phone, you can't be a salesperson. Well, the obstacles, if you push them away.
No, you need opposition in your life.
Absolutely.
You need something to measure. Come on. Yeah.
Oh, Chris.
Hey, Chris Connell comes in. Hey, don't worry about us. We're just do this every week. Don't sweat us. It's fine.
What kind of power move would it be if you didn't get some commerce?
If we didn't get some common sense.
Some commerce.
If we didn't get some commerce done. No, I agree. Welcome, Counselor. How are you?
How you doing, gentlemen?
So how was the call?
Incredibly productive.
Very
optimistic. And
very
normally,
optimistic.
Say that a lot.
For all your legal needs.
Legal needs.
Connell. 702 Connell.
So
back to what we're talking about.
Hurt in a car accident, you tripped and fell. CONN.
So to bring you up to speed, you already knew we were going to talk about Stoicism today.
Yes,
so what we're doing is we're reading great quotes from history, and we're just going to kind of dissect them as they go along. The first one, because I didn't get your opinion, was if you have passed through life without an opponent, no one will ever know what you were capable of, not even you, from Seneca.
That is absolutely true.
You need opposition.
Well, you need failure.
You need failure. You need it because you got to measure yourself against something, or you never know how you measure up.
Look at the Georgia coach.
Oh,
How sweet is that victory?
It was sweet for him.
For Kirby to win, how sweet is that? Because he's failed before.
Yeah, it did. I agree with that. I agree. Another one from Seneca. Whatever can happen at any time can happen today. This is something that I use a lot to insulate me. Again, whatever can happen today. When I'm running through plans, it's like so many people just want to see the positive and things they're going to do. They don't model out the disasters. They don't look at the worst case scenario. And I get accused sometimes by some of my partners as being the Debbie Downer sometimes, and I'm not. I just want to model out every single possible scenario that could happen before I get done. This is how, when I evaluate a business deal, I evaluate risk in all things. This is how I do it. What is the absolute worst thing that could happen? I mean, let's assume that the wheels completely fall off and this thing tanks. Is it going to end me?
Right.
And where on my risk meter where does the damage go and where does the reward go?
Right.
And I weigh those two things out.
And I also think you've got to take it as sometimes you can't control life, right? Like so many people are so afraid to live life right now because of COVID, because of what if that could, well, anything could happen to you today. You could die of a heart attack. You could fall and trip and hit your head. That you could even look at it that way is anything bad could happen. You got to live life. You got to push through. You got to get going on.
I think about that a lot now.
Well, I think the general, and you'll see these themes run through all of these things we talk about today. But there's a couple of themes that run through most everything, which is number one, you have complete and total control of your emotions and how you react to things. That's one. Number two is the concept of memento mori, which I say to my wife. I said it this morning. I mean, she's like, Cat's got diarrhea. I had COVID, blah, blah, blah. Hayden broke his wrist, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, memento mori, which means someday you will die. And compared to that, what is this?
Nothing.
What is this? Is nothing compared to
Well, think about it. The worst part of death is you're never even going to know when it happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Hopefully.
I saw The Sopranos last episode. It just fade to black. Buddy.
It's fade to black, and you think about the people you leave behind. So, did you tell your loved ones you love them recently?
Yeah. Did you do that?
I had a good talk with a guy that died for like 14 minutes.
Was this the white beard guy?
No, that was my angel that saved me. But
Sad.
if you've never talked to anybody that's died and come back, it makes you feel good about your life. Makes you feel good that people love it. People love dying. Like people come back and they're like, the peace that come with it and everything like that.
Unless your life is the executioner, then you should feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Because you failed that day.
But I think that's a cool conversation to have somebody. If you felt that was a good joke. That was a joke that I was not going to laugh at.
Just a bit outside. Yeah. Look, folks, they can't all be gems. We try. The good news is you can see from that response, nobody here humors me about shit. If I miss, it's a hard miss. It just is what it is.
That's all right. But that's a cool conversation to have with people that have
6 pitches.
died, right? People have died. They've got a perspective on life that's a lot different.
That's it. Marcus Aurelius, again, Emperor of Rome, said, "Today I escaped anxiety, or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside."
Right.
I think you run right to the world is there. There's no right or wrong. I think Nietzsche said there's no good or evil. Simply it just is. Your perception of things is how it is. Right. And if you are someone that has a high level of anxiety, if you're somebody that stresses out all the time about what's going on, they say that if you are stressed, you are if you're depressed, you're reliving yesterday. Mm-hmm. If you have anxiety, you're worried about tomorrow.
Yep.
And you're at peace if you're living today. Is the best advice. And that's another thing that I always, tell my wife all the time is don't borrow trouble from tomorrow.
Right.
Yep.
Look, what will be will be. If this is going to be a problem tomorrow, it's going to be a problem tomorrow. But right now, we don't know that it's a problem. Just because, again, when I look at and I talked about how I evaluate risk and how I do those things, I don't obsess over the worst case scenario. I don't focus on the worst case snenario. I just consider it so I won't be surprised.
Right.
That's, if it comes up, okay, look, yeah, we knew that might happen. It was considered, one of the quotes that's not in here that I wish was, it says, one of the things that a general can say, one of the things a general can say that is unforgivable is, I didn't know that could happen.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Completely unforgivable is, I never thought that could happen twice.
Right.
right?
Like
That's
McConaughey, unbelievable. You're watching it actually happen.
yeah.
How is it unbelievable?
It's not unbelievable. You're watching it happen. I've often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than the opinion of others.
Oh, it's unbelievably insightful.
Oh my God! I mean, listen, I'm going to say
That's
that
social
again.
media's
I'm
issues.
going to say it again.
That's a
Here it
big
comes.
one.
Here it comes. I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than of the opinion of others. This is the truest thing. I mean, it's funny whenever I teach a class and I talk about, being likable or being attractive. I'm always like, who's your favorite person? I ask that every time out to the room. Who's your favorite person?
Right.
And everybody's like, my mom, my sister, my best friend. I'm like, you're all full of shit. Your favorite person is you, which is why you love to talk about you. You love to hear about
your name.
Yeah, you love to hear your own name. It's magic sounding to you. And yet, as a society, through now social media, we've become so consumed with the approval of others through likes, through shares, through comments, through all of those things. It is insane. Cody Sperber, who's a friend of mine, he's the Clever Investor. He did a video the other day that was shockingly honest. I loved it because it was very truthful to me how it felt. And Cody, if you're watching this or you see this clip, this is for you. So Cody did a clip where he basically said, I am getting out of the social media game in 1 year. I'm out. I'm done with this. I no longer get I don't derive any pleasure from this. It causes me irritation. It is a job. I am at the whim of the algorithms of Instagram. Yep. My stuff doesn't get seen. I'm done. He's like, for me in life, it's either a fuck yeah or a hell no. And this has become a hell no. And so many people, so many young people get caught up in the approval of others through social media that the approval, no matter how much you get, will not be enough.
I just want to push back just very briefly because sometimes people there's this whole thing about Stoicism where they think it's just these mindless quotes about being, whatever. It's not. It's about understanding that, what you can control, how to approach life and all that stuff. There is something to be said, though, about how you feel naturally about other people, how they feel about you, because we are still tribal animals. So as much as you can be an intellectual being, you're still primal at a lot of different root places, right? Mm-hmm. So the clicks you get are approval, right? We have Dunbar's number. How many people are within our village? Yeah. Because I need the acceptance of others to be tolerated within my own village. And I think sometimes that's a balance, right? You have to be for yourself and living for your family, worried about yourself, what's in your control. But you also don't want to do it to the detriment of how you fit in your tribe.
Well, I think the point that Marcus Aurelius is trying to make here. No, I get it, but I think the point that he's trying to make is if your self-value comes through the eyes of others, you're never going to be happy.
Never going to be it's not about even
never going to be at peace.
Peace is just acceptance of the moment, right?
Well, and I think you've got to be smart enough to realize whose opinion you should value.
Sure.
Right? If I've got business issues and I ask both of you, I'm going to value your opinion probably as much as I value my own opinion. Now, if I'm going out and you guys are idiot business people and I'm putting your opinion, valuing it the same, it's different. Just like I've got a brother that when he makes fun of what I'm wearing, I'm like, thank God you don't like it, right? Like,
tell me I'm doing something right.
Yeah, my brother's name is John Gafford.
Yeah, assholes. Like, but it is like if you worry about what other people think of you, God, man, you can be picked apart.
I didn't highlight this quote, but it goes with what you just said, and I don't remember who said it. And I'm never going to be able to find it, but it says, take counsel of your friends because their lens may not be clouded by self-love.
Right.
Yeah. I love that.
Very smart.
It's very smart.
Self-awareness.
Well. Yeah. Having self-awareness of it. I don't know where it was and who said it, but there it goes. Back to Marcus Aurelius. It can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise it cannot harm you inside or out. Mm-hmm. So often, I think the perception, you are only harmed if you choose to be harmed by people. I mean, everybody's like, that person did me wrong. Biden's out to get me. Trump screwed up it's all about what this external force did to you. Mm-hmm. And the reason, going to do to you. And the reason that I find the reason that I can be so ambivalent to it, and we talked about it a little bit last time, and it's not about, not standing up for my country and my freedom is being eroded one time. It's just the fact that it doesn't affect me. I'm going to figure out a way to make it work.
Right.
You know, I don't let this stuff consume me.
It's like Jay-Z said, put me on anywhere on God's green earth, I'll triple my worth.
That's right.
Well, and that goes back to, you know, your ego again. A lot of this comes back to your ego. You're sitting there letting, you know, somebody create an enemy, which who cares? If someone comes up and says, "Fuck, Chris, that stupid shirt, you're an idiot," and now you're like, he's an enemy, and now you've wasted energy, you've wasted your time. It's hurt you now.
Yeah.
Like, no, it didn't. It hurt your ego. Who gives a crap?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. The ego thing's crazy.
You know
Ego is the enemy.
You know what's smart about you even printing these out, John?
What's that?
There's that whole quote. I can't remember who said it. I think it might be Rogan always says it, that motivation's like showering. It works for a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to do it often.
Yeah, you get.
So you can read Meditations by Aurelius. Yeah. You can read Seneca, right?
Yeah.
And you get these really great kind of a bit of positive inertia in your own thinking about self-love or letting the little stuff go. But slowly we live in it'll start chipping away at it. Mm-hmm. So make it a priority to read sometimes.
This is, I actually highlighted a quote from that, so we'll get to that in a minute. But again, I think
even need me that.
No. But I'm saying I think that's why if you look at programs like 75 Hard, that Andy Frisell does, if you look at those programs, you're going to see that consuming pages every day are part of those programs. If you look at
reinforce positive,
you look at the Billionaire Morning and get up at 6, do this, meditate. I mean, you see where they're consuming that as a part of it's as important as consuming food.
Right,
is what you put in your brain. Which,
I like that.
Which brings me to my next thing, which is this. Marcus Aurelius again: the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Mm-hmm. You know what you think you become. I mean, if you are thinking about being broke, if you are constantly thinking about your girl cheating on you, if you're constantly thinking about everything in the world that could be negative, right, that's the quality of your life.
That's what you're going to manifest.
Go and think
they talk about the law of attraction. This is what they're talking about.
Wayne Dyer. You remember Dr. Wayne Dyer? He was like a motivational speaker. He always had some on PBS. And I thought I turned on his program one time, and I thought it was
strictly a Bob Ross on PBS.
Oh, there you go.
God. Did you watch that documentary?
All in on Bob Ross.
All in. Like a religious sermon or something. I was waiting for him to start, being religious, but it wasn't. He was quoting Buddha and Jesus and like Muhammad, like all these people with stuff. And one thing he said about just listening to violent music, he wasn't being old man poo-poo on. He goes, just listen to the content of your music, though. Listen to the words.
Dude, we've talked about that. I mean, because when I was coming, like for years, Social Distortion, one of my favorite bands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We talked about this on the show. Yeah. Same exact thing. I love Social Distortion. And then one day I kind of sat there and started listening to what I was screaming out. And I'm like, dude, Mike, I mean, bro, go to night school. Figure it out. Start an e-com store or something, Mike. It doesn't have to be this bad, bro. And I had to stop listening to Social D because I was verbally yelling, manifesting not the best stuff.
And it can be TV shows, social media, it can be music. You don't even realize it. Like, God, there's times I'm like, that's what that music's saying.
And I'm not pro censorship at all, and I don't think that it's a good policy, but I do think that being self-aware and reflecting on what's the content of Rage Against the Machine. You go, okay, there's all these power struggles, whatever. It's fun to like rock out and get all angry, but reflect on it. Like, just don't let it come in without some kind of check on it.
Well, I'll say more. I'll say more to that. We talked about this before. Triggers. As you're going through social media, look, if you're watching this video, if you see this video on social media and you're like, "Fuck that guy," delete me, dude, because I'm not helping. I don't want to be the guy that triggers you in a negative way. I'm not helping you.
First,
tell 4 other people first about us.
Tell 4 other people first.
Yeah,
tell 4 other people.
Tell 4 other people.
Second, think about why that would trigger you, though. Well, take a second and just go, okay, delete me. I'm not adding anything. I don't want to take anything away from anybody ever.
Because people look for things. They seek negativity. I was watching Private Parts, Howard Stern's movie the other night. And they were talking about when he first went to New York and the ratings came in. They said the average Stern fan listens for 60 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. The average Stern hater listens for 140 minutes a day. Yep. And both answers were the same. I want to see what he's going to do next. And it's like people are looking for outrage, if you're looking for things to upset you, you're going to find them.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
You see the same fights between the same people on social media. It's like delete each other, right?
I only follow. So I'm starting to make sure that I only follow artists, people that do awesome shit like Jacob Acrobat, like these guys on Instagram doing amazing human feats.
Yeah.
Because I get fueled up by watching incredible things of humanity, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't slag the Kardashians. They do nothing for me.
Nothing for me.
They've never hurt me. I think it's good that one is trying to help people now. That's the end of my opinion on that entire family. So it's because, like I said,
because it does nothing
people
for you.
love to hate that.
But I will say this about the Kardashians. Skinny white boys, we're back.
Hell yeah.
We're back. We're back, baby. We're back.
Bring a comeback.
We're back.
Yep.
Dude, Pete Davidson, I'm just,
Good for him, man.
I mean, Kate Beckinsale, Kim Kardashian, dude, that dude is knocking down a Mount Rushmore
I asked
of
my
like.
sister about it. She goes, maybe he's just cool to hang out with.
Yeah,
Well,
he'd have to be. He'd
he
have
might
to
be-
be.
People
He'd have to be.
overblow how difficult it is to land like an attractive partner or spouse, right?
Yeah.
If you're an enjoyable person, if you're not sitting there like a negative asshole all the time, if you're kind of cool to be around, I mean, I've heard some other things, but
No, but I was just going to say that. I mean, he seems like, he lost his dad in 9/11 and stuff. He seems like he is somebody that just lives positivity.
Maybe he's
which
full of
is good, right?
maybe he's entirely empathetic.
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, instead of can you imagine being married to Kanye or
No.
somebody, and then go from that to this? And
There's a
I
guy
think
whose
that's perfect.
self-love is not surpassed by his opinion on anybody.
100%.
And that's the opposite of what you don't want to be either.
100%. Well, here's a great quote from Seneca. Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. Again, going back to the same thing we just said, where if you're depressed, you're reliving the past. If you're anxious, you're fearful of the future. You just want to be at peace in the present is what you want to do.
That's a big one.
That's good. Marcus Aurelius again. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is perspective, not the truth.
Totally.
I mean, that should be a disclaimer on social media.
Yeah.
Everything you're going to see is an opinion. Everything, not fact. Everything we see is perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the easiest one if you've never heard it. Glass empty, glass half full.
Sure.
It's the easiest way to look at it. Perspective is everything in life. I think, what was it? You heard the story, the Chinese proverb where the guy was like, what was it? Guys,
maybe.
his horse runs away.
Yeah.
Right. And then the whole village comes over and says, "Oh God, sorry about your horse. It's terrible." And he goes, "Well, we'll see."
Maybe.
And then the next day, a whole bunch of horses come back and they say, "Oh man, that's terrible." Or that's great news that all these horses showed up. He said, "We'll see." Yeah. And then his son got on one of the wild horses and broke his leg. And they said, "That's terrible." He said, "We'll see."
Yeah.
And then the army came along to draft all the young kids. He couldn't go. Said, "We'll see." I mean, the point is, perspective is everything.
Have you heard that one? Have I ever? I don't know if I've mentioned it, but it's
Which
one of
one?
my favorite stories.
It's the moth joke?
No, it's a family. They have two kids, about the same age, two boys, twin boys, somehow totally different. One's ultra dysthymic, sad about everything, lugubrious, just kind of a downer.
Whoa, I mean, that is fast and furious. Well, I didn't even get those together. That was like a triple letter word scored twice.
Hey, you gotta keep up.
bam.
And the other kid is just
needed
eternally
you.
optimistic.
We missed you. Bringing the highbrow up in here for sure.
So one eternally optimistic, one's not. So they say, well, we're going to give the one kid a pony, the one who's down, that's sure to bring him up. And the other kid, we're going to fill up his room with horse shit the whole, whatever, the whole time. So the kid with the pony is like, oh God, now I got to get up and feed it and do all this stuff with it. And the kid whose room was full of horse shit was freaking out, totally excited. And he's clawing through this horse shit. And the parents just, what's going on? He goes, with all this pony shit in here, there must be a pony somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. It's that whole thing about how you look at something, right?
Perception's
reality.
is everything.
Yep.
But sometimes there is facts, and the facts are facts.
Yeah,
Which
sometimes
is a problem. Like sometimes it's like, there's always that thing that there's a 6, right? One guy's on one side, one guy's on the other. It's like, well, it's a 9. Well, it's a 6. Well, it's a 9. We'll figure out which one it really is because it's.
Yeah, but looking at if there's a 2 beside it, a 3, you go,
and
no,
then
it's
you
not
get
a 9,
perspective.
dummy.
You can get perspective and realize
You
what the
piece it
fact
together.
is. It's not everything can be correct. In life.
No, I agree. Everything we talked about that. The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say or think or do, only what you do. Again,
Remember that whole comment about a young man cares about what other people think, an old man stops caring what other people
and
think.
a wise man knows they're
A
not
wise
thinking
man
about
knows
him at
that
all.
They were never thinking about him at all.
I didn't think about him at all. That's true.
That's the best one.
All right, love this. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself.
That's great.
I think that too much in this time, we hold others to too high of a standard and don't hold ourselves to a high enough standard. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was expect nothing from anyone, and then you can never be disappointed. If you don't expect anybody to do anything, you'll never be disappointed by anybody.
So my mom gave me this book on relationships when I was younger. And there was this whole dichotomy of, people in relationships, sometimes it's a giver, sometimes it's a taker. And a lot of times that doesn't balance, right? Sometimes there's somebody that does everything and the other person does nothing. It's imbalance.
Yeah.
And then there's the relationships that are 50-50. But with a 50-50 relationship, you're still meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
Because this person said in a relationship, expect to give 60 and expect to receive 40, because just giving isn't satisfying because you have needs too.
Yeah.
If each partner gives 60 and demands 40, there's going to be overlap.
Yeah.
There's going to be excess of giving and a surplus, right, of expectations of receiving.
Yeah.
So, when you do that, when you expect to give more than you're going to get, but still retain the fact that you're a valuable person and you deserve something back.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing can just be everything, right?
Right.
You can't just give away the farm.
Right.
When you do that, you create excess for both parties.
Well, I taught my son that lesson this weekend, or last weekend, because it was. He wanted to have a bunch of his friends over during the day, and he said, I said, that's a mom department thing. I'm not saying, because I don't care if you're 10 or if you're 40. When you come to our house, my wife goes into full on like hostess mode, and it's work for her.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So you don't just do the throw the bag of chips out and that's it. It's got to be a
take
whole
care of
thing,
it.
right? And so I never am the one that says yes to that, because I am the 13-year-old boys. Here's a bag of chips,
ahead.
and don't break anything, which didn't work out either. But so I'm telling Hayden. So she says yes, you can have these boys over, and she left, and I said, Hayden, I need you to clean up the whole downstairs, like spotless, before she comes back. Like clean everything up.
Yeah.
And he goes, why? And I said, trust me, it'll go a long way. So she walks back in from the store for buying all the stuff that she needs to entertain these 4 13-year-old boys. And I go, that sounded terrible, but there you go. But I said,
I wasn't going to say anything.
But I said, no. But I said, she looks at her, she goes, the house looks great. I said, Hayden, clean the whole thing up. And I said, dude, Hayden, relationships are like bank accounts. Yeah. There's deposits and withdrawals. And her letting your friends come over, that's a withdrawal. So you needed to make a deposit to make sure that you still had some in the bank to cover it. Same thing.
Or just let her know that you value what she's
Yes,
going to do.
you appreciate that. Now, I love this quote. I think if you are a millennial out there that doesn't quite know what's going on, what you want to do, what you want to be, just whatever it is, this I think is your quote. You ready? From Seneca. If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable. And I absolutely love that. Again, if a man knows not which port if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable, from Seneca. What that basically means is, if you don't know where you're going in life, or you don't know where you're trying to get, no help, no assistance, no leg up, no handout, none of it is going to matter. It doesn't matter. I think so many of these younger kids now, they just want somebody to do something for them in a way, but they don't even know where they want to go.
Right.
It's like, even if somebody came by and gave you the best opportunity in the world, you couldn't grab it because you have no idea what you want.
But that is so. But I think people also need to be equally forgiving of themselves for not knowing what the hell they want to do. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people kind of just think, I'm going to do this because I kind of think, but they haven't gone. Like we were talking about your son, he wants to be an architect, right?
Well, last week, this week, whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he goes and starts working on CAD all day and goes, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I want to coach kids soccer. You don't know. That's why I think people should go try a bunch of shit.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
But again, the point being is, I think so many people look for the wind.
Oh, go find your port.
Yeah.
No, they're looking for the wind
right
before they're trying to figure out where they're trying to go.
Go find your port first.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You've got to figure out where you want to go before you look for the wind.
Too many people's ports
Whatever
money, right?
Whatever it is.
Like a lot of time, their port's money. It's like, okay, well, why are you really trying to get there? Right?
I promise you this: if you make your goal about your professional goals or whatever about money, you're going to be a sad motherfucker.
Yep.
Dude,
yep. It's the
you better
if you
figure
meet
it out.
if you meet a business guy,
dude, I have friends in this business, in the real estate business, that, look, if anybody calls me or asks me a question, I'm happy to sit down with them. I'm happy to help them. I don't have any secrets to any of our agents working at Sunby Vegas. I give them our entire playbook. I'll tell them everything I'm doing. But I know so many people that hoard that information because they say, like, helping somebody else, and I've actually heard people say, there's nothing in it for me. Well, what are you talking about?
Like, what are you doing?
Like that's going to be an empty existence.
That's
in
it.
the long haul.
But those people are always fucking miserable because they think the next bag is going to be the one that breaks them into happiness.
That's the one.
It doesn't. It doesn't. You better have a reason for your existence.
Yep.
And money's not it.
I've been poor and I've had the fortunate opportunity to have moments of wealth.
Yeah.
Even if brief or whatever my situation is,
yep.
I will tell you that money is not what creates happiness.
No, it's not. It's not. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back and talk about more Stoicism.
Fuck that, I was kidding. Money's the shit.
Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com, where we'll share any links that things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout.